Ifechukwu Muonyili with the news. Now, it was another busy day for River State Governor Siminalayi Fubara, who only passed Guma, Degema, Abonema Road, and later the 9.7-kilometer Emoha Obakiri Ebelu Road alongside the chairman of Emoha local government area, Dr. Chida Lloyd. The roads are considered key routes that will boost transportation and open up more rural communities to development. The governor, who spoke with journalists after inspecting the Emoha Obakiri Road project, assured them of its completion by December.
But the contractor did inform me that they are one of the, what I call them, best host community. They never give them any trouble. And the reason is very simple. They understand the importance of this project. It is about them, and government is about the people. So I'm here to assure the good people of Emoa and Obakiri people in particular. The chairman is here as a witness that, God willing, before the end of this year, by December, this project will be completed.
Now, this is the governor's first inspection into full duties from his 6-month suspension. The 19.7-kilometer Buguma, Abalama, Tema, Degema, Abonema Road was awarded to Julius Berger in December 2024 at the cost of 30.4 billion naira and was flagged off by the former Minister of Foreign Affairs, Odeyi Ajumogobia. While the 9.7-kilometer Emoha Obakiri Ebelu Road, which connects the Obakiri people to the east-west road, cost 15 billion naira. Now, it appears the Monday night fire at the River State Secretariat has prompted swift action from the government. Early Tuesday morning, Governor Fubara inspected the affected podium block. The governor said the incident has made it necessary to renovate the Secretariat complex. He promised that the government will begin immediate work to restore the facility.
God all the glory that no life was lost and the damage was on just a section. The Secretariat has a crutch, so I think it's that section that was affected by the fire. We've been talking about the renovation, the publishing of our very foremost Secretariat, and I believe with this particular incident there won't be any reason not to continue it anymore. Whatever is required by this government to commence that process, we will immediately swing into action.
Governor Fubara also noted that recent investments in the state fire service will help to limit the damage.
I want to thank the civil servants for their support, more especially, you see, when governments make investments, people don't understand what they are doing. Before the emergency rule, we took our time to invest in fire service. I wonder what would have happened if we didn't have a formidable and functional fire service. So we'll continue to do those things that we know will continue to lift Rivers people and make Rivers people happy.
But even as the government moves to rebuild, some eyewitnesses and civic groups are calling for stronger safety measures. Eyewitness Dafe Dokubo told our correspondent Nnamdi Wala that the damage could have been less severe if the Secretariat had running water taps and functional fire extinguishers.
Before this time, we are supposed to have fire extinguishers and hose in the building. Situations like this, those equipment would have been helpful. But in this circumstance, you can imagine a building like this, not even running water. We buy water. Even when the state fire service were on ground, you find out that there was no even single water for them to put off the fire. If not for the federal and Bua company fire services that came to help to salvage this situation, if not, we would have had more disaster than this. The place is old. Even you see the wire are all protruding, showing surface here and there. Total rehabilitation for the building.
The spokesperson of the Civil Liberty Organization in the state, Emmanuel Obe, wants those responsible for the incident to be held accountable.
Public buildings and maintenance of public buildings and other facilities of government ought to be a normal thing to do. If you look at the House of Assembly complex, it was after an explosion took place. They did now decided to review the place. Meanwhile, they have been complaining that the place has been leaking. They had structural problems. We shouldn't be waiting for disasters like this to occur. Let us now take advantage of it and do it once and for all.
Mr. Ome also urged the government to maintain public buildings regularly and establish a fire service station within the Secretariat for quicker emergency response.
All the documents of the people of Rivers State are in that building. If anything happens to those things and the people, you can imagine the situation we find ourselves. So that from anywhere in the world, or you can transact government business. This has happened now. Let us see what the extent of damage. A state like Rivers State, which is to be an A state in Nigeria, has not gone extent of ensuring that documents, transactions are digitized.
Meanwhile, the head of service, Dr. Ian Brown, listed the offices affected.
The areas damaged are the offices belonging to the Rivers State Rural Water and Supply Agency, the Rivers State Crèche, where you can see mothers have their babies, as at the time they had closed for the day. Part of the clinic, the smoke affected our civil servants clinic. For now, we cannot use the clinic.
The Pensions Board Director, Dr. Iyowuma Mpakopari, confirmed that their offices and documents were not affected. Now, away from the Secretariat fire incident, the search for lasting peace in River State's political space continues to draw public attention. Over the weekend, Governor Siminalayi Fubara and the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike met in what many have described as a crucial step toward reconciliation between both camps. The meeting, which also had some of the ministers' loyalists in attendance, has continued to generate mixed reactions across the state. One of those reacting is a lawyer and conflict resolution specialist in Ndamzi Kulo, who cautioned against politicizing every move by the governor and his predecessor. Speaking in an interview with correspondent Emeka Otoka, Mr. Kulo said at this point, the governor should not be seen as representing any faction, but the collective interest of all Rivers people.
Respectfully, I disagree with those calling the meeting a one-sided one because notable faces from the camp of the governor didn't attend the meeting. But those who attended the meetings are Rivers people, and particularly the dramatic personas, the governor and the Rivers Assembly members were duly represented. We can all agree that reconciliation begins where there is a reckoning of the past. And in this, the stakeholders of the state attended the meeting and they have discussed on how to move the state forward.
Now let's turn to election matters. Concern is growing in River State over the delay by the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) in conducting a by-election for Kana Constituency 2 in the State House of Assembly, 2 years after the death of the former lawmaker. Denny Barilolo, stakeholders say the continued vacancy has denied the constituency proper representation. A registered voter and lawyer from Ward 16, Barine Lolo, told correspondent Soebi Uruwari that he will take legal action if the election is not conducted within 48 days. Mr. Lolo confirmed he has already submitted a petition to INEC headquarters in Abuja.
Constituency project has been awarded to House of Assembly members. Kana Constituency 2, we do not have any. So it is on that note that I petition INEC conduct by election within 45 days. And where they fail to do so, the court is there. We can go and challenge inability or avoidance of conducting by election in Kana Constituency 2. Provision of the Constitution is very clear that within 30 days after a seat has been declared vacant, INEC must, it is a mandatory provision.
He explained that INEC's earlier excuse for not conducting the by-election, citing a state of emergency in the state, has denied the constituency a voice in legislative matters.
Sometime in June, when he was announcing the conduct of by-elections in Nigeria, he stated that that of Kana Constituency 2 will not be done because of the existing state of emergency. Even though we do not agree with him in respect of that, because within that time, local government election was conducted. But we are saying that the emergency has been lifted. Democratic institutions and officials have resumed work. So what is holding INEC from filling that vacancy?
Another constituent, Steve Debara, said now that the state of emergency has been lifted, INEC should immediately announce plans to hold the by-election.
The effect of representation is not being felt by our people because our representative in that constituency 1 in the River State House of Assembly is not being felt. Now that we are back to democratic rule, one will expect that INEC will roll out the drums and begin to put in machineries in place to ensure that that constituency is properly represented in the River State House of Assembly.
Mr. Debara also lamented that the absence of a representative has left many developmental challenges in the constituency unattended.
We need somebody that will speak on our behalf for Kana constituency 2, charting the dividends of democracy to our people. We have a lot of issues ranging from herdsmen attack in that particular area, the issue of flooding, that is also flash flooding, that is also a cause of worry. Someone from that constituency will need to speak about it and then represent us in that regard. For now, we don't have a representation, and it's actually a challenge to our people in many areas.
As you may know, it has been 2 years since the death of the lawmaker representing Kana Constituency 2 in the River State House of Assembly, Denny Barry Lolo. Elsewhere, a socio-political group, Rivers East Affairs, says it plans to meet with state and national assembly members under Rivers East Senatorial District to demand accountability in the legislative arm of government. Speaking at a media briefing, the convener of Rivers East Affairs, Martins Azarindo Obara, said their primary focus is to evaluate the bills sponsored by each legislator, the utilization of allocations for constituency projects, and town hall engagement with constituents.
Prior to this time, we've always had situations where it is only the executive arm of government that is being called for accountability. We want to do a little shift to start calling our legislators. We want to call on our legislators to start giving us accounts. We do not want those lukewarm situations where legislators go to the National Assembly and they are seated there without contributions. So we want them to tell us the bills that they've passed, how this bill directly impacts constituents. We want them to tell us their constituency projects.
Azarindo Obara, who is also the Public Relations Officer at National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS, South Zone B, urged lawmakers under Rivers East Senatorial District to run an open door policy.
The team is made up of 8 persons, each person coming from each local government that make up Rivers East Senatorial District. And I want to call on our legislators. I wouldn't want any of them to shy away from this particular tour we are coming for, because before this particular time, they signed a social contract with us. They told us to vote for them, that they were going to in turn do certain things. And these are the things we are requesting. Come and tell us this contract we had, if you are actually keeping to them.
We'll go on a short commercial break. When we return, we will tell you more about the resignation of one of President Tinubu's ministers. Stay with us.
This is the news on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
You're welcome back. Now, the Chief Executive Officer of Olunta Motors, Kingsley Olunta, says his venture into the transportation business is driven by a commitment to make travel affordable and accessible to everyone, including people living in rural communities. Speaking in Port Harcourt, the Rivers-born entrepreneur explained that Olunta Motors was established to provide safe, comfortable, and reliable transport services that meet the needs of passengers within and outside the state. He said Olunta Motors offers a high standard of travel experience with vehicles equipped with working air conditioning systems to ensure comfort throughout every journey. The company says it ensures passenger safety, guarantees secure trips to all destinations. To enhance road safety, he said, the company operates a fleet of automated vehicles fitted with electronic monitoring systems that regulate the speed of drivers, that helps in maintaining discipline, ensuring smooth operations, and preventing any form of sabotage or risk to passengers. Olunta Motors operates affordable transport services that cover all 36 states of the Federation, including major cities such as Owerri, Aba, Enugu, Lagos, Ebonyi, Akwa Ibom, Cross River, Warri, Benin, Bayelsa, and Abuja. The company has also acquired new fleets, including Hilux vans, SUVs, Hummer buses, and general-purpose cars. In addition to interstate transportation, Olunta Motors also offers car hire, leasing, and logistics services to cater to both personal and corporate needs. You can visit them at Chihes Plaza, opposite Road 20, South Road, Port Harcourt. You can also call them on this number, 0803 796 5935. That is 0803 796 5935. Now, some residents of Rivers State have expressed mixed reaction to the lawsuit filed against former President Goodluck Jonathan by lawyer John Jidobi, seeking to bar him from contesting in 2027 presidential elections. Speaking with our correspondent, some respondents support the lawsuit. Others argue that the law still allows him to contest for another presidential election.
I agree with him in the sense that Goodluck Jonathan is a citizen of Nigeria, irrespective of being a president before, former president. But he have the right to contest and be contested. But for the fact that he have run for the president for single term, he have that right. I don't see any need. He have right to contest.
Because the last time that he was our president, he did well. If he's willing to come back, I'm sure that we will vote for him because we are suffering. That's it. We like him to come back again.
The first time I win first now is for Inhoga. Nobody vote for him. So the second time I want to go now.
According to the constitution, says that nobody should swear in twice in office. And the lawyer or whoever that drives him to court, I eventually won or wins a case, filing that he should not be contested in 2027 election. But if eventually he wins, Nigerian politics, he might even read and I might change the constitution.
Well, away from that, a state high court sitting in Port Harcourt has reserved judgment till October 27 in the case of suspect accused of killing woman inspector Christiana Erekere at the Taba police station in 2024. When the matter came up on Tuesday, the trial judge, Justice Augusta Kingsley Chukwu, queried whether the police had complied with an earlier court order to release items seized from the suspect. The judge also asked if the officer in charge of legal at the River State Police Command, CSP Stephen Owuche, had appeared before the court as directed. In response, the lead prosecution counsel, ASP Celestine Dixon, confirmed that the items had been released and that the police legal officer was present in court. Justice Kingsley Chukwu thereafter directed the parties to adopt their final written addresses. Adopting their addresses, the defense counsels urged the court to discharge and acquit their client, arguing that the prosecution failed to prove the case beyond reasonable doubt. However, the prosecution counsel, ASP Dixon, maintained that sufficient evidence had been presented to establish that the suspects were involved in the violent attack that led to the death of Inspector Erekere. He urged the court to convict and sentence them accordingly on the 2-count charges of conspiracy and murder. The Rivers State Police Command has begun enforcement of the vehicle tinted glass permit across the state. The enforcement team, led by State Commissioner of Police CP Olubenga Adeboju, include key officers and traffic personnel of the command. Addressing journalists during the exercise, CP Adeboju said the operation aims to ensure that owners of vehicles with tinted glass obtain the necessary permit before driving such vehicles.
It's a continuous process. Every tinted vehicle has to get a permit for them to be able to use such vehicle. And today we are continuing enforcement to ensure that those that are using any vehicle that is tinted has a due diligent permit for them to operate with such vehicle. And that's why we're here. You all know the situation of the country. These tinted vehicles are being used by miscreants and criminals to convey a lot of arms and ammunition and some other equipments and items that they could use to attack the good citizens of this country.
Responding to questions on a reported court order restraining the police from enforcing the tinted glass permit, CP Adeboju said he is not aware of any such order, noting that the earlier suspension of the exercise was only to allow for public sensitization.
Well, I'm not aware of any. I'm just hearing from you. It's equally allow us to get statistics of those that are using such vehicles, should in case there's any crime being committed with such vehicle, to be able to track it to the people. And the Inspector General of Police have suspended it from time to time to ensure a lot of people key into it. And we are now enforcing it as directed by the Inspector General of Police.
Correspondent Mekotka reports that CP Adeboju also clarified the vehicles whose owners have already started the permit process online and can provide proof will not be impounded. The Minister of Innovation, Science and Technology, Uche Naji, has resigned following allegations of certificate forgery against him. The presidential spokesperson, Bayo Onanoga, who confirmed his resignation in a statement on Tuesday, said the president accepted his resignation. Naji said he has been a target of blackmail by political opponents. He was appointed as minister in August 2023. And now President Bola Tinubu has accepted the departure of Professor Mahmood Yakubu as chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) following the completion of his second and final term in office. Professor Yakubu, appointed in November 2015 as the 14th chairman of the commission, served two consecutive 5-year terms, with his second term beginning in 2020. His tenure formally ended in October 2025, marking the conclusion of a decade-long leadership of Nigeria's electoral body. In a statement issued on Tuesday by his special advisor on information and strategy, Bayo Onanoga, President Tinubu commended Professor Yakubu for his dedicated service and contributions to strengthening Nigeria's democracy through the conduct of credible, free, and fair elections. Professor Mahmood Yakubu on Tuesday handed over to May Agbamuche as the acting national chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) until a substantive INEC chairman is appointed. Agbamuche is the oldest serving national commissioner in the electoral body. Also, Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan on Tuesday resumed plenary following the expiration of her 6-month suspension over misconduct. Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan entered the Senate chamber around 12 noon and sat on the new seat allocated to her, which she had earlier rejected. We're going another short commercial break. When we come back, we'll tell you we give you more from the international scene and then end the news. Stay with us.
This is the voice of the Center for Disaster Risk Management and Development Studies, University of Port Harcourt.
has been awarded to John Clark, Michael H. Derave, and John M. Martinez for their work on quantum mechanics that is paving the way for a new generation of very powerful computers. The announcement was made by the Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences at a news conference in Stockholm, Sweden. The Nobel Committee said there is no advanced technology used today that does not rely on quantum mechanics. As a news this hour of Tinubu has Professor Mahmoud Yakubu as he completes his tenure as INEC chairman and hands over to May Abamuche. You heard that the Minister of Innovation, Science and Technology, Naji, has resigned over allegations of forgery against him. On the foreign scene, you heard that 3 scientists have won a Nobel Prize for quantum computing breakthroughs. The news was edited by Onyeka Chinwosu. To reach the news team, send an SMS or WhatsApp to 0808-721-7215. I'm Ifechukwu Muonyili. Many thanks for listening.